One of my most anticipated games of 2021 is Resident Evil Village. And guys, I've been a huge fan of the Resident Evil franchise, most notably though, that being the latest installment in the Resident Evil franchise being, of course, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And I know that they've had remakes and things of that nature, but I absolutely loved Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And I've been hoping that with Resident Evil 8, they were going to continue kind of what they started with that game, where they were going to kind of stick more horror over the action within the Resident Evil universe. And I think that that's something that I guess really has intrigued me. And it sounds like with Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8, it sounds like they're going to continue what they started with Resident Evil 7, but have a little more action in it than, say, what Resident Evil 7 had. And I'm totally cool with that, because I know a lot of people thought that it didn't have enough action within that of, Resident Evil 7. So now with Village, guys, we've gotten more information, and I definitely want to talk about everything that we know about Resident Evil Village. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below, what you guys want to see in this game and what your early thoughts are about the title. So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, written by Danny Paez of Inverse, May is shaping up to be the scariest month of the year. On January 21st, Capcom revealed the release date of the Resident Evil series' 8th installment, Resident Evil Village, along with new gameplay footage, clues about the story, details of the new crafting system, the PlayStation 5 demo, and a new playable character. The last fleeting glimpse of the upcoming horror games fans received came during the Tokyo Game Show on September 23 with the release of a new trailer that included developers' comments as well as snippets of gameplay. Capcom had released a steady stream of teasers since it revealed the 8th installment of the horror survival franchise during Sony's June 11th PlayStation 5 reveal. Resident Evil Village will continue the franchise's current storyline after more than a 3-year hiatus. Since 2017, Capcom has stopped churning out new Resident Evil content to release 2 remakes for RE2 and RE3, which were well received by longtime fans of the series and newcomers alike. And, the big thing for me, guys, when it comes to remakes, even though I definitely appreciate that they came out with RE2 and RE3 remakes, and, obviously the graphics look, from a graphical standpoint, it looks great. They've added a little bit of some content here and there in those as well. The thing about it, though, is, when you play a remake, for the most part, you've already played that same game, before. There might be certain changes or things that they've added to those remakes, but for the most part, the story and structure. Whereas, so obviously those have been great, but at the same time, we've been wanting that next continuation of this franchise. And Resident Evil Village seems to be certainly what we're I gotta say, very excited about this title. Now, Resident Evil Village will bring back the series' newfound first-person gameplay with a new title that will take inspiration from horror movies like The Exorcist and Blair Witch. And when you talk about those two movies, guys, and you're talking about a game that's kind of going to be, somewhat of an inspiration to those two movies, that makes me very, very excited. So the big question, guys, when is the Resident Evil Village release date? Well, Resident Evil Village will launch on May 7th, 2021. The game was originally due to launch in April, according to the compiled list of leaks stemming from the ransomware attack detailed on Reset Era. Before this, Capcom had only specified that the game would launch in 2021. So May 7th, guys. Now, obviously, take that date with a pinch of salt, simply because we don't know, with the pandemic and all the things going on with that, if they're going to be able to stick with the May 7th date. Hopefully they're able to, but I wouldn't be surprised if they push it back later on in the year, if they don't feel like they can really ramp up, the advertising and things of that nature to make this, this is one of their biggest franchises, so they're going to certainly want this one to get knocked out of the park. Is there a PS5 demo for Resident Evil Village? Yes, the PS5 demo for Resident Evil Village became available on January 21st. The development team stated that demos for other platforms would roll out in the spring, so zombie fans that haven't managed to snag a PS5 yet will have to wait several more weeks before getting their hands on the latest chapter of the survival horror game. Now, the thing for me, guys, that's a real bummer for those of you who don't have a PlayStation, not being able to play the beta. That's really unfortunate. I now understand that a lot of these development studios are becoming, partners with Xbox or partners with, and getting exclusive content early. And so PlayStation got the early content here for Resident Evil Village. So hopefully it's not too long until all the other platforms get that demo. Now, as far as the trailers are concerned, guys, there are a number of trailers. They've given us kind of the story trailer, which I thought was really well done as well. And As far as the release of Resident Evil Village, I definitely would recommend, if you haven't already, watch the different trailers that have come out, guys. It gives you a lot, and I think that the gameplay looks really great, guys. The most recent game footage that they gave us looks great from a gameplay perspective. We'll have to wait till we get our full hands-on with the game. But will Resident Evil Village be on Xbox Series X and PS5? The recent ransomware leaks also shed some light on what consoles and platforms Resident Evil Village will be launched on. It turns out speculation about it not being an exclusively next-generation title were true. Capcom has plans to launch its new horror game on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles, as well as the next-gen PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. To top it off, the Rest Era list also mentioned that Google paid Capcom $10 million to bring both RE7 and Resident Evil Village to its game streaming platform Stadia. The title will also naturally launch on PC, so that means all types of gamers will be able to play the title upon release, regardless of what platform they prefer, which is absolutely awesome. Very excited about that. We'll be able to get our hands on with it. I actually really like this, the deal that they made with Google, guys, for RE7 and Resident Evil Village on Stadia. I thought that was pretty cool. How long could the Resident Evil Village campaign be? While the extent of Resident Evil Village's campaign has not been revealed yet, but Resident Evil leaker Dust Golem claimed to know roughly how long it will be on their Twitter. I don't know the exact playtime, but I've heard pretty reliably out of the RE Engine games, it'll be the longest one. Not the absolute longest RE game. I personally suspect it'll be shorter than RE6 or RE4, but I've heard it's longer than RE7, RE2, and RE3. So, obviously, guys, what can we expect there? I mean, it's so hard to say, guys. I mean, it could be, relatively, it could be a long campaign. I'm hoping for a long campaign, a lot of things you can do within this world, even if it's side missions, things of that nature. I think the big, hitting point for me, though, guys, is the Resident Evil Reverse, which seems to be the multiplayer mode that comes with Resident Evil Village, which essentially, guys, after you're done playing the campaign, you'll be able to play multiplayer, which I think is huge for this title. It's, instead of moving on to other games, you're at least going to try out the multiplayer side of things if you like multiplayer. So I think it's important how long the campaign is, but I just want it to be really good. I want it to be polished, well done, and, definitely something that we can have conversations about for years to come, but I also want there to be, the multiplayer side of things, so we're able to play with our friends, and it would be cool to have some co-op as well. What is the Resident Evil Village story? In a press release following the Resident Evil showcase on January 21st, Capcom revealed the following information about Resident Evil Village. So Resident Evil Village continues the story of Ethan Winters, first set in motion Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. The latest entry combines pulse-pounding action with signature survival horror gameplay synonymous with the Resident Evil series. In today's first extensive look at gameplay, the development team revealed several new details, including some features which harken back to fan-favorite elements from previous Resident Evil games. Protagonist Ethan will now be able to purchase and sell items, buy recipes for crafting, and customize weapons with the merchant dubbed the Duke, which I think crafting is awesome, guys. Using materials found throughout the game, he will be able to craft invaluable consumables needed to survive the terrors of the village. Utilizing these provisions will also involve more strategic planning with a revised inventory system based on space management that may be familiar to series fans. The diverse cast of enemies appearing in today's digital program are just a few revealed from Resident Evil Village so far. Ethan will face off against many threats such as fast-moving creatures that relentlessly stalk him, and Lady, I don't know how to say her name, Demetrius, mysterious daughters who can transform into swarms of insects. The game's disparate lineup of adversaries will have their own distinctive ways of attacking, so players will need to adapt their strategies with quick decisions on when to attack, guard, or flee in order to survive. Ethan has a new kick move in his arsenal to create distance from enemies and buy precious time to decide his next move. Absolutely awesome. I mean, overall, guys, I'm very intrigued. I can't wait to see what this, with the crafting and all of those things, gives you kind of those thoughts of maybe even similar to The Last of Us, potentially. Obviously, some of the, earlier Resident Evil games as well. I'm very excited to say the least what all, it kind of what we kind of are able to do and what it all encompasses when we actually get our copy of the game. All of that information backed up other details that the RE news site Biohazard Declassified published back in January, which also noted that RE8 would launch with a clever title. Now on Monday, Biohazard Declassified published more unconfirmed details that tie into everything we've heard about this next chapter. Now look, guys, At the end of the day, a lot of these different things are all pure speculation. So we don't know for sure, guys, as far as if all the stuff that Biohazard declassified is true, but you guys can certainly go through that if you'd like. While there's a lot of weight to these leaks, it's worth noting that Chris Redfield's role in Resident Evil Village wasn't mentioned. Finally, based on a translated interview with Resident Evil Village producers Tsuyoshi Kanda and Pete Fabiano from Japanese games magazine Famitsu, the upcoming installment will conclude Ethan's storyline, which is very interesting to me that they're going to conclude Ethan's storyline. So you wonder, does that mean that we're going to take the helm with Chris Redfield once again? How's that going to play out? There's a lot of question marks revolving that. So look, guys, at the end of the day, there is still speculation. Obviously, we haven't gotten our hands on impressions yet of this game. But from what we've seen so far, I am very excited about what we've seen so far when it comes to Resident Evil Village. Like I said, one of my most anticipated games of 2021. This is going to be, I think this is going to be something special, guys. I really do. Like I said, it kind of reminds me, maybe we're going to get a little bit of a taste of kind of Resident Evil 5 with some of that action, mixed with Resident Evil 7, Biohazard with some of the horror elements. So it should be very interesting to say the least, and I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you guys excited about Resident Evil Village? Let me know. And for more Resident Evil Village content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.